Okay, so yeah, we have been researching the Aleutian mysteries lately.
Pretty
That's
mysterious.
one of our, biggest rabbit holes lately. So pretty interesting. The Greek the Greeks. There's a place called Eleusis where they used to basically anybody in the empire, the Roman and Greek area, could go there once in their lifetime to experience like a psychedelic trip, basically, from like a potion that they would make. And we've recently done a bunch of research on your laugh is like cueing me in that it's close.
I'm being very lenient.
Yeah. But yeah, so we've been
stoic.
researching like
So it was an ancient
I knew it.
ancient rave cave.
Yeah, an ancient
more
rave
or less
cave.
an ancient rave cave
and people
that everyone was allowed to visit once
once
only
in their
once.
lifetime, yeah, which is fascinating. Like,
Well,
You can't tell anybody about the experience.
Poor people
afterward.
could go once. Rich people could go multiple times.
well,
No,
I think
you're
I
only
think it was,
supposed to go once in your
Well,
lifetime.
I'm sure that
supposedly.
people had special privileges. People who knew the potion guy. Like, there's somebody who knew.
They
the
didn't have
potion
photo
guy,
IDs back then either, so
No, yeah.
This is true.
There's
Shave
no
your beard,
cameras.
and you
If
go
you're hanging
go
out
again.
with the potion guy, you probably got potion quite a bit of times if you wanted it. Like a. Huh? Oh yeah, no.
You were talking about the Kaikian?
Oh, the Kaikian, yeah.
Yeah.
The potion that they were making and how it's like it's made out of ergot. They think they probably also mixed in a bunch of other mushrooms and stuff. Oh, center it more. Okay, yeah.
It's trying not to be distracting.
Oh yeah. I just thought you were doing that. Okay.
Talk directly down.
Okay, yeah. So,
If you can.
but he's poised.
No, I'm not.
So poised.
I feel like I could be a little
You
more.
look aggressive.
Yeah. He's
It's on
being
his-
pretty
It's
lenient.
on his lap now. You don't
He's
have
being
to
pretty
worry.
lenient.
You
Yeah,
don't
no,
have
that's
to
true.
worry.
Oh, that's your vape. Okay, I thought you were just ready.
No.
Okay, yeah. But yeah. So the Egyptians also had something we've noticed. They had the Ankh as well, which is the symbol for immortality, but it's always depicted as being fed to people, and it looks kind of like a mushroom. So like we're like thinking, cross-examining the keep becoming aware of it as it's about to come.
No, that's
That's the
good.
whole point. I
Yeah.
shock if you're aware of it.
But yeah. But so they would try and feed people this Ankh, and the terminology, the fact that it's associated with immortality, which is also what the Kaikian was associated with. You could experience this once in your lifetime, and once you had experienced it, you were considered to be like immortal. You'd like live on forever or whatever in the afterlife. So that cross examination is very similar, like to another thing that people were fed. So we were like wondering if they have some cross influences maybe, and I'm trying not to think about it, but yeah, no. So but lately we've been trying to look into also some of the stuff in India that might be related to it, because they all had similar practices, and the I can feel the impulse. It's there. But
Just a nice pause is
I
fine
think-
too to
yeah.
collect your.
Well, actually, just practice talking slower.
oh, yeah, I talk pretty fast.
You talk
generally.
really fast.
Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
he?
Oh yeah. I'd
You're
say
just
in
used to it.
You're
general-
probably used to it. We also
Yeah.
watch everything in double speed, so. But I don't know if have you guys ever rabbit holed on any of the psychedelic mysteries and the different
Not too
cultures
much.
and
A
stuff.
little bit with the Santa Claus and that one mushroom.
Yeah, the
Something about
Amanita,
that,
which is
yeah.
interesting because that
Yeah.
one doesn't really seem to.
That
I've
one
never
seems
done it.
pretty
We did
clear
rabbit
cut.
hole on that a little bit more
Yeah, we
recently.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Is Santa not based on the mushroom?
No, I think
Oh,
he is for
absolutely.
Oh, he
sure.
is, okay.
Yeah, no, it's the more you look into it, the more it seems like that's exactly what's going on.
Right.
Like
There are a lot of similarities.
Yeah, what's interesting about it though is I've never done it before, so I don't really know what it does. But like, Stamets, when he was talking about it, he was saying like it it has the effect is more like a intoxicant, I think, right? Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's like
In
drinking.
a dream,
kind of.
Yeah.
dream state.
Yeah,
Is that when he was in the time loop? He was describing the time
When
loop
he kept picking up and dropping the
Yes.
camera over and over
Yep.
again.
Yeah.
over and over and over again.
Yeah.
With people watching.
Yeah.
They were not involved. He was like at an RV park or something.
But
Oh my
didn't
gosh.
what was it that he dropped it once
And then he picked it up and he dropped it again. His body just let go of it, I think.
Oh,
and he just
okay.
kept
I
picking
wasn't-
it up and dropping
I
it.
wasn't sure
And
if he
couldn't
just
stop.
did that once and then he experienced
No,
it. a bunch
I
of
think
times.
he was actually
Kept
picking it up
doing
and
it.
He
dropping
kept
it
doing it?
over
Okay,
and over
okay.
again. Yeah.
So it
and
made
he
him
was
glitch
unaware
out.
of it.
He was,
something, right?
sounds like he was super aware of it, but couldn't stop
He's
it.
Way too aware of it. Yeah. So that one, it's interesting to me that it's because they had alcohol and stuff, which is
Right.
another mushroom. You're just taking yeast, I guess. But so the effect doesn't seem much different on a surface level. Just researching it from there, I'd have to like experience it, I guess. But so that one's interesting. To put a whole mythology around it is really interesting.
They're pretty.
Yeah.
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 Nice to look at. so
Striking.
They make
Yeah,
good
yeah.
ornaments.
Unique. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Fuck yeah.
I'm wondering if
Yeah, they do. get
maybe
fucked up.
some of the stuff were just different components that they used in that potion too. Like they have, I'm sure more than one thing that they were putting in there. They definitely used the ergot. They found out,
And they have
evidence
less
for
in
it.
Siberia, so it might
Yeah.
be more prevalent to have amanitas there that use it more than
That's true. Yeah. Oh yeah, because
Cubensis.
the
or others.
is it just Cubensis, the strain that's like everywhere basically, or
It's
is there
everywhere now.
different
I don't know
species?
that it was before.
I think it's a tropical
It is. It
fungus, though,
comes
so
from
it
Cuba.
basically has to be in a
One of the
tropical climate.
ones I was looking at recently,
Liberty caps.
the Liberty caps. It grows on decaying grass, and that's like all over Europe, and it's all very closely related.
I think it's also multiple times more potent than
Yes,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
as well.
Mhm.
yeah, much
And
stronger.
and they're when they do DNA testing on it, they're all very closely related, which I think implies that they were probably carried around all over Europe, and then it was just it doped the grass everywhere, so they're just like all over the place, like because you would expect there to be a lot of genetic diversity otherwise, but so they probably used a combo of all these different ingredients in there. But the Egyptian symbolism was pretty interesting, like the fact that the ankh looks like a mushroom is
Is that
pretty
a stretch?
That's
or...
a bit of a stretch.
Okay.
I don't
Isn't
know.
that the
yeah.
one?
I don't
Isn't
know.
the Ankh the one that looks like a cross with a loop?
Yeah.
on it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is the one.
Yeah. Okay.
But-
yeah. A lot of things look like mushrooms.
Yeah,
then.
no.
Yeah.
It's just interesting that they're always showing people.
Not always,
Well,
But
yeah,
they do
there's a
show
lot of people,
people eat it, like-
feeding it to people.
Right.
Yeah.
but that
What
could
does
still be
Ankh
symbolism.
mean? Do you
I
remember?
think immortality.
No, just immortality.
Yeah. And that's what the Greeks associated the potion with.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at like in India, they had similar imagery. The farther back you go, there was like the halo that they have above like Jesus and stuff. That like the farther back you go, it's just literally a mushroom. They just have in
Isn't the Buddha depicted?
yeah the Buddha is depicted as meditating under a mushroom, which, and then that I think that mixed with the sun, like as a sun worship and stuff like that, they kind of fuse the two together.
Sure.
But it's pretty interesting because like
Sun on top of a
because-
mushroom. Yeah.
well no I think the mushroom's more symbolic there. Like I think the sun was because it was the literal deity, like
Right.
that was the creator god or whatever, and when you take the mushrooms you're anointed, which is what Christ means. So they literally gave him a potion, and then he was the anointed one, and then he would give other people the potion. Then they could see what he's talking about, and then they were anointed as well. And then those people are typically pictured with the halo around their head,
Right.
and that like denotes like enlightenment. I think, yeah, it was pretty interesting. Like, yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, back then, like you think how.
Mushrooms are God. Is that what you're
Well, I think just like if you look at what it does to your psyche and stuff, I think back then, think about how potent that is today with all the understanding people have and how well read people are, but comparatively. But back then, if you were just like a farmer or something and you did that shit, you would just be like, "There's something weird going on here." Yeah.
Right.
Huh?
I said, yeah, for sure.
Did you find a
said
link?
Leica at all?
Been saying some ums, but
Some ums, yeah.
I'm letting
but
the ums slide.
That's insane.
For the
like
next
2 shots
episode.
and it's just done.
Yeah.
That's how it
Shit
works,
works,
though, right?
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised the dogs are just like, yeah, like a dog.
fine.
It works. That's why they sell it, right? I want to look more at the link between Hinduism and the Egyptian religion, because there's definitely a bunch of links we found like between the Egyptian religion and Christianity as well. So it's basically the same thing. They copied and pasted.
I also feel like Hinduism and Buddhism, basically the Eastern religions and philosophies, are like the most psychedelically like aligned ones, where it's like that's what an experience is like.
Yeah.
I feel like the Western ones kind of get a little dogmatic and removed from that.
Well, that was intentional. The government, because the government created the Catholic Church, so they like after Constantine. We just watched a documentary on this too. It was really interesting. So after Constantine declared himself Christian or whatever, he fused the religions of the empire together to control the people and get them united under one faith. So they're like, oh, this is kind of similar to what I believe or whatever. So basically everybody would be more primed to convert, and it worked over hundreds of years. But the way that it was architected it's like if you had Congress today vote on what your religion would be and what everyone would believe, that's literally what happened.
Yeah.
So they decided on what stories to include and what like traditions and stuff to pull from each religion, and then they pasted it all together into Catholicism. And then you have Protestants and stuff today who pull away from that, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna do my own thing or whatever, but they're still the core book is the same, and it's the Roman government's book, because Gnostic Christianity included a ton of other texts and stuff that are not included in there, and they have a lot of
Like the Dead Sea Scrolls would be an example.
Yeah.
Which apparently just talks about Jesus being, it's like the most humanizing.
He's pretty cool.
It's
like,
really
like he just did
interesting.
shit.
Yeah.
And apparently like knocked somebody off a roof and the guy died and he brought him back to life just to, like, as a kid, just to be like, yeah, tell him what I did
show
kind of thing.
people. Well, they have there's the Gospel of Judas, which you wouldn't expect that guy to be heard because of what he did or whatever in the story, but his stuff's very interesting. So it's basically he in that text, it says that Jesus basically gave him some secret information about what was it it had something to do with the anointing and the I forget exactly what he said, but it's there's like
Can't put me on the spot. My brain goes blank. When you do that, I'll just
but there
no idea.
there's a lot, like, we're still reading up on it and stuff, but there's so much shit in there, and he basically directly contradicts a lot of the stuff that the Catholic Church, obviously, like the whole like the whole in the Bible, he's literally talking about like trying to take the Jewish church at the time was harvesting a lot of tax money from people, and they're just using it for power and stuff. And then they basically just took his teachings, even though he's saying that that's the wrong model, and to don't have like a big centralized man-made model of how to like worship people and like take money from people for whatever purposes and stuff. He's saying that everybody is God basically. And when you look at those texts, it's more like the Eastern faiths. It was basically they're, I think, all interlinked. They're all the same thing. It's just a telephone game. But then I think the Romans basically they they messed with it, so it's really not the same thing anymore. Like and that basically gave people a Did I? Mm-hmm. Oh my god!
Yeah,
I think you might need to turn it up a little bit.
I think he's acting. I think you're acting. You're like, this hurts so.
Yeah.
Oh
What's it on?
40. It's on 40.
Oh, it's on 40.
60's not unbearable.
Yeah, it's making me sweat a little.
You're brown.
I think it's working though. Yeah.
This is your favorite rabbit hole.
You have to hold
so
it and
has
turn
anyone
it.
else been rabbit holing on anything? Because you could go on for
There's a lot of
hours.
I